whoever's watching this, you're also getting the first time I'm touching a guitar today. So this is like my pure uh, other adjective for pure thoughts. Oh, thanks. Yeah, so I know that's not really much of a question, but I'll take it as a question. Um, a lot of using chords and melodies, it's kind of just practice and just like deliberately doing it. Like deciding, oh, today I'm gonna play some chords with my melody, you know? So like in order to practice it, you just gotta kind of do it. And at first it'll be hard, it'll be weird, but so is like walking and riding bikes, you know. But eventually you kind of build your way up to that. So you can kind of start by I don't know what kind of voicings you know, but there's a video on here somewhere about using shell voicings. So you could kind of just make a melody and use shell voicings to comp for yourself. Like a good one is all the things you are. Like you have this shell voicing. Like if you played through all the things you are, the first 8 bars, it looked like this. And when you play the melody, it looks like this. So then when you combine both of them, so it kind of looks like that. And like it takes a while to kind of get that, and you have to kind of accommodate it a little bit. But I mean, start with even the bass line. Okay, to answer all of these questions, all the most of them are not really questions. So Risil, is that how you say your name? I'm sorry if I mispronounced it, but so you asked, how do you do that while improvising? Do you just play notes in the chord you're currently playing? Yeah, I mean, basically. So there's a couple layers to that. One of them is like, for example, doing it in a prepared way. So for example, doing chord melodies and doing all this stuff. Um, for me, improvising is really just kind of playing information that you already know, but not necessarily in that order, or like not necessarily or yeah, I guess not necessarily that order. And because like we're still using the same 12 notes when I'm improvising, even though I'm making it up on the spot. I've played this voicing hundreds of times before. So that's one aspect to it is just like getting a lot of chord voicings. That I feel like is really helping. Another aspect of it is just practicing that because it's uncomfortable to do it at first to be able to do. Nika, Sean's in a musical right now. I'll get him in on the next one. But anyway, so like, it comes from musical. It comes from like yeah, being able to play chords and melody at the same time in a prepared way first, and like getting a bunch of different chord melody arrangements and different kinds of yeah arrangements, I guess. And then working on different bass lines, and then it's also learning the song really well. So for example, I can play it, but I could also be like. Which is completely different. Then it's also like, for example, incorporating chords into your scales. So, for example, if this song is a key of F minor. So being able to play all of that and all the string sets too. So that was a combination of the E string sets and the A string sets. And then if you want, you can even go to the D string sets too. Oh, sorry. These are actually just open triads. I'm playing root, fifth, and then the third, which is like the cool like modern voicing, even though it's actually just a triad. Um, but yeah, I mean, just going up all the neck, all the different parts on the guitar, just like that, and being able to get those. I do have a video or two or three, I think. If you just go on my channel and look up open triads, there's a few. It's actually the first lesson video I did. Um, there is a lot of videos on this, actually. There's one on inversions. No, sorry. There's one on open triads. There's one on open triad inversions. There's one on how to play solo guitar. Let me see. I actually have my channel up here on my computer. There's one I did recently on inversions, I think. Oh, yeah. What are triads? Closed, open, and inversion. That's one I did about a month ago. So I think that one is the latest one, and I think that one's the most all-encompassing one. So check that out. But yeah, I mean, oh, and there's another one, creative ways to practice the major scale. That helps too. But basically, I mean, if you like know a little bit of theory, take your triads, or like find your triads and your scales, and just stick with one or two at a time. Like don't go overwhelmed, don't get overwhelmed. But like for example, the G major scale has G major, A minor, B minor, C, D, E minor, F sharp diminished, and then G major. So then once you have that, then you can do all these exercises. So, oh sorry, I apparently don't know it that well. But so I'm gonna play G major triads up the G major scale only in the E string. So I'm just using this shape, and also I'm thinking about like this is major. To get to minor, I lower the third, which is the middle one. To get to diminished, I lower the fifth, which is the top one. To get to augmented, I take the major triad, raise the fifth. So then I do the same thing on the next string set, but instead of starting on G, I'm going to start on C. And as a general rule, I try to go like this through the neck, so start here and then just go up. So C, D, E minor, F sharp diminished, G major, and then A minor, B minor, C, and so on. Then on the next string set, so I'm gonna do G, A minor, B minor. So you have that, and then you can do the same thing here. Bye, Nika. Let's hang soon. Hit me up. Send me a message. So that was C major to C major on the lower three strings. So then once you have that, instead of just doing them as triads, or I mean you're still doing them as triads, but invert them. So instead of 1, 3, 5, move the 1 up to the third up to the fifth, and then the 5 up to the root. Or just play the same notes, just start on the third. So you have the first inversion. So this is major first inversion, minor first inversion, diminished. Augmented still looks the same because just the way augmented triads work. And then take that up to scale. And then do the second inversion. But really a lot of it is just like, think about, like, here's my chord, what can I do to change it? And then how can I bring that all the way up the guitar neck and learn how to use it? Then there's also just like knowing your scales really well. So like for example for G major, like I know the 3 notes per string, I know the caged, I know 3 octaves. I can basically play G at any point on the neck. There's some polyphonic exercises you can do. So sometimes when I'm playing chords, I'll just like so boo da da, and then I'm just playing figures within the scale. Not even necessarily thinking of what chord I'm making, but if you know about modes, for example, and like you're in G major, and the chord that's being played is a G major 7. If you play notes within the D major scale, you're technically playing G Lydian over a G major chord in context, of course. But if like I have this here, so if I have this drone, let me raise the volume a little bit. So if I have that drone playing a G and I'm playing notes in the key of D major, like a D Lydian sound, or sorry, G Lydian sound over this G major chord. So like for example, what if I just take 2 random notes? So now if we look at these 2 notes against the root, which is G, I'm playing a B, which is the 3rd, and I'm playing an E, which is the 6th. So I'm actually playing E minor over G, but because we have this E G drone, and if we even go like this and have a 5th, now it's a G major 6 chord, and I just picked 2 notes. If we do the same thing here, I have D and a C sharp. D is a perfect 5th, C sharp is a sharp 11. So I have root, 5th, and then sharp 4. And we have a cool voicing now. Just picking random notes, you know. So if you combine all of these elements, this kind of sound. Wrong notes. Sorry. I just know the notes in the D major scale really well. when I'm like, oh, let me just put two notes. I know all these scale patterns too. Like I know how to play fourths really well. Sorry. Fifths. Sorry, that was not a fifth. Another aspect is like being able to play a fifth like this, but also like this. Or I guess a better demonstration would be like the fifth like that, or the fifth like that. Or even if you're crazy, like that's a fifth. So knowing all these things really well, I think what it comes down to at the end of the day is just like having good control of these musical ability, and then trying to put it into practice in improvisation. And part of that is just stumbling through it and just like messing up and not playing nice things until you get more comfortable. And record yourself too. So like record yourself doing some kind of like solo guitar thing, and then like criticize yourself, but like in a productive way. Obviously, don't like beat yourself up. Um, like listen to yourself playing the thing, and then ask yourself like what can be improved in this, what's going wrong in this, where am I going wrong, and then pinpoint the exact points where you're going wrong and practice that. Like create exercises, all this stuff that I just like mentioned, they all sort of came from like, oh, I'm bad at this, what if I do this, or like, oh, what if I change one little aspect of it, does the whole thing change, do I get new exercises from that, you know? So yeah, that's a very long answer to your comment, but I hope that helps. And for anyone else who is just joined, drop a question in there because I think I've been doing more talking than playing. But until then, I will play some kind of song that I will make up. No, so okay, so that's if you know that song, that's the song "I'll Be Seeing You," which is usually played in E flat, but this time I played it in A. I mostly stayed in the key of A, but there were moments when I didn't. I think there was one time I played like, but with like a different rhythm or something like that. That's called sequencing. What I was doing later in the tune, or at least this is one of the moments that I remember not being in the key, but the song goes like, oh, sorry, I'm thinking in a different key. Yeah. So it's like in this key, it's like we're in the key of A. Yeah, sure. So in the key of A here, this is B minor, and then it goes to D minor, which is weird because it's the minor four chord of the key of A, which is borrowing from the parallel minor. So it's A major borrowing from A minor. But it's also a sequence, meaning we have this B minor chord. It goes up to this D minor chord. And it's the same exact structure, so the same exact intervals. And on the guitar, it's easy to see because the voicing doesn't change. So sequencing basically is whenever you take the same structure and just move it up. So in the case of this, I'm just taking the whole phrase down half steps. And that's something you can do that sounds cool. I don't know why it sounds cool. I mean, I think it sounds cool to everyone in different ways, but Yeah, it one way is that one thing is that it generates tension, and you also have this strong kind of melodic pull because you're hearing the same melody over and over. And like when we listen to pop choruses, we usually know them by the end of the chorus, and that's because there's not much information and it's happening over and over. So like if you think about when you learn anything, it's just by repetition. So when you use sequencing, you're repeating the same melodic idea that people could latch onto. So it's easier to remember the idea, but then you're taking it out. You're taking it to different keys. So in this case, it was half step sequencing, and in this case, it's minor third sequencing. You could also go a step further, which I did. So when I was doing that whole like, I did B minor, D minor, F minor, and A flat minor. So I was sequencing in minor thirds. So I was taking the same structure and went from B and then just shifted it to D, shifted it to F, and then shifted it to A flat. And I think that's a cool idea because I'm just developing what the song's already given me. So I'm just continuing the idea that's already in the song. I'm not creating any new information. And thinking like this helps when you're improvising because like you don't want to just play the same licks over and over again. At least I don't. So when you're developing a song, you could develop it in multiple different ways. But that's another topic. There's a video on here about melodic development on my channel somewhere, so you could check that out where I talk about that. But so then what I was doing when I got here, I think what I was basically doing was taking the melody and then reharmonizing with a different note. So, for example, if I'm playing like a G flat minor, which is what I did a few times, or F sharp minor,